So welcome dear students. Today is 1st October 2020 and myself Dr. Anup Mishra, your teacher of population studies. Today I will deal with the second topic of the first paper, population studies first paper, that is components of population growth. As you know that yesterday I told you about the meaning and scope of demography and distinguish between demography and population studies. So the second important part is the components of population growth. So students, the main components of population change are births, deaths and migration. And earlier I also told you that this is a three big things or structure of population studies. And this is called as a natural increase, and this natural increase is defined as the difference between live births and deaths. So this is basic things you have to understand and you have to learn. And then second thing is migration, and within that migration, net migration is defined as the difference between the number of people moving into an area and the number of people moving out. So this is net migration, because you have to deal with these three components: births, deaths and migration. Okay, and then next dear students, we will talk about the structure of the components of demography. Then there is a composition of population is a primary one, and that affect with ethnic, age and sex. And then second is distribution. Distribution of population is also very much important in the study of population, and that we may say that what is the percentage of rural population and what is the percentage of urban population, or what is the percentage of suburban, and also how many citizens lives overseas. Okay, so this all are also the issue of component of the demography, which you have to remind, which you have to take in your memory forever when you are dealing with this paper. And then dear students, there is a third term called as growth, because this is the most important thing. We always used to talk about the growth of population, increase of population, decrease of population. Okay, so growth means there is a rapid growth, or there is a slow growth, or there is a population is decline. So these three terminology you have to deal with in the components of demography. And then when we'll move forward, then we all know that population is affected by fertility, mortality and migration rates, as earlier I told you. And then the final population will be initial population plus final migration. And when we talk about the initial population means birth minus deaths. This is a net population. Birth minus death is a net population growth, and immigration minus emigration is a net migration count. So final population is the initial population plus net migration of any country, any region. Okay, and then when we'll talk about the age and sex composition of a population, that affects its social life in many ways. We may say that changes in age composition are due mainly to changes in birth rates and are presently increasing the proportion of aged and reducing the proportion of children in many countries. So when we talk about the migration is affected by the push given to the people by unsatisfactory condition at home, by the pull of attractive opportunities elsewhere, and by the channels or means through which they are able to migrate. So this is a very, very important part, especially when you are having we are witnessing the era of COVID-19. You saw the issue of migration, that how with the push factor rural people were forced to go in the developed region like Maharashtra and Gujarat, and how then again in the era of COVID-19 there was a reverse migration. So this all you have to deal with when you are studying this paper, dear students. So When next we are talking about the measurement, the first component is the fertility. So fertility rates differ by social variables and differ by religious groups. That is we always used to talk about Catholic Church and contraception issues, what Malthus used to say. And that also differ by social class, that is lower classes tend to have higher fertility. All the research shows this. And then differ by region, and also research shows that the people in rural areas tend to have higher fertility. So these all are the fertility rates which shows the difference between all social variables and regional variables. Okay, and then lastly, that is differ by country, that is people in poor countries tend to have higher fertility. So dear students, these all are the issues we have to deal when you are dealing with the components of population studies. And within that component, the major component is fertility, which you have to start like focusing on the social variables. Okay, and then dear students, fertility rate can be affected by policy, public policy. That is, some government pressure couples to have fewer kids and other governments encourage them to have more. As earlier I told you about the case of China. Once in China there was one child policy, compulsion for all, and they was able to curtail their population within limited time. So public policy affect the fertility rate. And then culture, that is religion and contraception. This is also a very major issue we have to go through, and we have to do research on these issues. And third is economics, that is expense of having kids in industrial versus agricultural societies. This is very much important when we are talking about the population studies, and when we are talking about the population growth. Then we see that we have to, now we are calculating on the expense of having kids. So in industrial or in urban areas, people used to plan for their kids, but in agricultural society still there are no plan for kids, and there are population growth because they are dependent on agriculture. And that's why in the rural areas we see the unorganized labors are there, and there is a disguised unemployment issues in the rural areas. Okay, and then third is very much important nowadays, because technology is playing an important role nowadays in economy and also in the part also for the population studies. That means technology that are effective contraceptive methods are available or not. Everyone is planning for their family nowadays, and they are searching for a good contraceptive methods. Okay, and this can be helped by better technology through innovation, through invention in the field of contraception. So this is also a major part which we have to deal, and these all are the area of research in the coming years, and you have to deal with all these issues, dear students. So today I am curtailing my lecture up to 10. The third one is components of population structure, and within that component, major component is fertility, and you have to deal that how fertility rates affected by various factors. Thank you very much, dear students. Take care of yourself.